When I'm doing shows, I listen to a lot of music, Beatles music, Wings music, to see what ones we're going to do and to learn them.
Yeah. What do you mean? You've forgotten them?
Yeah.
Really?
There's too many. Too many words, too many notes. They're very hard. I mean, you know, it's not like they're all 3 chords.
It's hard when you write so many great songs. We all assume those songs are unforgettable, but Paul McCartney told Sharon Alfonsi of 60 Minutes they are not. The Beatles had 20 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100 pop chart, and they remain one of the most influential bands of all time. A new movie, Yesterday, is set in a different world where an aspiring singer named Jack is the only musician who remembers the Beatles. He becomes famous pretending all those great songs are his.
Yeah. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it seems as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
When did you write that?
I didn't write it. Paul McCartney wrote it. The Beatles.
Who?
John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles.
Which Beatles is this?
Himesh Patel, who plays Jack, is with us, along with director Danny Boyle. Good morning to you both. Welcome. This is such a great premise. But I imagine, casting the lead must be very difficult. You get a singer who can act, an actor who can sing, and you basically said Himesh saved you in this case.
Yes, you narrow the field down very quickly because it's not like horse riding. Actors will promise you that they can ride a horse. You can't test it until you can get a horse in. But he turned up and it was extraordinary. You knew he was the guy straight away.
Why did you know?
Yeah.
Soul.
His
Soul.
soul.
He sang with soul. I mean, you can't kind of manufacture it. You can ruin it if you're not careful, but you can't manufacture it. And he had that special quality.
And that's you actually singing, Himesh. We just heard Paul McCartney say how hard it is to know the words. You had to learn so many. Number one, were you a Beatles fan at first?
I was,
this?
but not as big a fan as I am now.
You are.
What's going on this journey has made me a huge fan of them, but I kind of knew what we all tend to know, and I'd heard a couple of the albums.
You sang those songs live in the film.
Yeah, we didn't overdub anything, so everything you hear in the movie is me singing live and playing guitar live and piano.
And not only are you singing Beatles songs, but you're doing some of them in front of Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was strange. Actually, the first time we met Ed, Danny made me sing Long and Winding Road in front of Ed with no instruments. So I just had to sing a cappella in front of Ed Sheeran.
Oh, man.
5 minutes after meeting him.
It's like cooking for Julia Child. Yeah.
Your performance of that in the movie, by the way, is terrific.
Thank you.
It's really terrific.
Yes,
and Ed Sheeran is one of the surprises of this film because he's quite a good actor.
Yes, he is. He came to rehearsal.
Was he your first choice for the role?
We asked Chris Martin first.
And I think Ed's a better cast. I got to be honest.
I think Ed's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So you asked Chris, and
so
he
we asked
said
Chris,
no?
and he wasn't available. So then, of course, we went to Ed and lied and said, Ed, you're our first choice, will you? And he said, no, I'm not. You just asked Chris Martin. I think all the pop stars have a Facebook private page that they all keep in touch with.
Danny, I got to know, what was it like negotiating with the Beatles catalog? And you talked to Paul and Ringo and their widows. This is a story about them being forgotten. How do you get approval for that?
I think that's their sense of humour. Because it's not like a straight biopic or a life story like so many films these days. They had such a sense of humour as a group. I think they like the idea of, let's do one where we are erased from the world's consciousness and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so that appealed to them, I think.
It is not easy to get approval of the Beatles because each of the 4 members of the family have to sign off, don't they?
Yeah, it's one for all for one, the way they do it,
I like what you said, Himesh, that the movie makes a point of not addressing the character's ethnicity, which I also thought was a very interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Has that been difficult for you to find roles like that?
I've actually been quite lucky,
Yeah.
in the last few years of kind of being out there auditioning. I think there's been a change in the narrative because people are speaking up on new platforms and being listened to in different ways.
Yeah, you did that on purpose, Danny?
It's just quality. I mean, it's just talent out, you know. I wouldn't have cast him if I'd found somebody better. It's a terrible thing to say, but, you know, it's true. He was the best, and It's a triumph for talent, really, over kind of other systems of, you know, stardom or what some people might think are appropriate, you know.
One of my favorite lines in the movie is, "A world without Beatles is a world that's infinitely worse," which I think is so true. It made me want to go and play all the Beatles songs that I have.
It's unimaginable to me.
I agree with you, Anthony. Were you just a huge Beatles fan? How did this premise come about?
It's one of our leading writers, Richard Curtis, is a crazy Beatles fan.
Yeah.
Don't let him trap you in an elevator and start talking about the Beatles, because you'll never leave.
I actually probably would like to take that ride.
And he borrowed the idea. It's interesting because so much of this is about borrowing other people's. He borrowed the idea off this writer, Jack Barth, and wrote this wonderful script. Yeah. And I think it does have the joy of their work in it. You know, it's a joyful. There's some solemn moments in it, and some very tender, melancholy moments in it, but it has joy in it like their songs do.
Yes, it does. A lot of joy. I really enjoyed it. Thank you both.
Thank you.
And bravo, bravo. Danny Boyle and Himesh Patel. Yesterday's in theaters this Friday. You're watching CBS This Morning. We thank you. We'll be right back.